What is up, ladies and gentlemen? McNuggets here with Earl the Pearl G. Bush. Adam the Bull will be joining us soon. It is our very first Cavs post-game show. There is 30 seconds left in the game. The Cavs trail Toronto 105-101. Toronto has the ball and is dribbling the clock out here. We'll kind of give you updates as they go. Scotty Barnes drives. If he makes it, gets called for a travel. The Cavs have a chance here to make this a one-possession game with 20 seconds left. We'll get into more of the overall pictures of this game here in a sec. But, G, first impressions of this Cavs team who have battled Toronto tough start to finish. And here's Adam the Bull, the man, the myth, the legend himself. What's up?
Hey, guys.
Well, listen, at times the Cavs look pretty good. It's a shame we didn't get an opportunity to see what it really looks like with Darius Garland, as well as Donovan Mitchell the whole entire game. I think you only got to see it a little bit, and I think down the stretch of the game after we went to the fourth quarter, we started to see how the defense, the Raptors really kind of clamped down on the Cavs, and there was only one point guard, one distributor, one guy who had the basketball. So you can kind of see how this team is going to be able to benefit from the wide open spacing because they can drive and kick because they got two guys with Garland or Mitchell being able to do it. But due to Darius Garland not being in this game, you kind of look like a lot like last year we talked about before. One person dribbling, one person really starting to initiate the offense. But, game one, I thought the Raptors played really hard. I thought the Raptors did what the Raptors always do, which is scrap, really get out on the break and try to do something, that even scoring all throughout. So first game, but I will say there was some glimpses that I saw that looked like it's going to be a great season, and the Cavs should be able to do something offensively, especially when they do have Garland.
Earl, we got 19 and a half seconds left. Cavs are about to get the ball. What kind of play are you running for Mitchell here? Because 45 is getting the shot.
Yeah, he definitely getting the shot, man. You got to get him.
16 seconds left, Mike. You're behind. Sorry.
No, I guess I'm literally 1 second behind because they inbounded the ball as you said that. But let Earl talk, though, man. You just hopped in here. Let Earl have the floor.
Let Earl talk. Go ahead, Earl.
No, man, you got to maybe set him a screen, man. Get him open, get him off the ball real quick. I think, or he can just go ISO, see if he can create his own shot or create something for somebody else, man. I know I seen him do that, in the second quarter when we had that comeback and outscored them then. But for me, overall, this game, like you all alluded to, Toronto is a gritty team, man. They're long. They play great defense, and they play great as a unit. I think that you saw the glimpses of what the Cavaliers are going to look like this season. A lot of ball movement, a lot of guys in open space. Cedi came off the bench hitting the open three a lot, so I thought that was cool. Even before Darius went down, he really wasn't having, his strongest game, which is okay, first game of the season. But, yeah, we ended up in the same position that we was in last year with just one guy being the ball handler and the creator out there. So we'll see. I just don't like the fourth quarter collapses, and this is something that was a problem last year. This was a problem in the playoff game, lost to Atlanta. You got to be able to finish these games out.
Mitchell drove baseline, got fouled. Siakam fouled out on the play. Mitchell is shooting his second free throw now. It's a 3.
He made it.
He made both. So, Bull, what kind? I'm on a crack stream on live cable. There's no way you're ahead of me. You must have live, up to date.
I'll tell you when he inbounds the ball. Inbounded now.
It is 105-103 Toronto ball. Bull, you're gonna have to give us a little update here as they continue. But Mitchell drove baseline. They ran a little give and go with Mobley. He got bumped on the baseline and made those 2 free throws. So his first opportunity to have a clutch point here for the Cavs, Mitchell comes through. But I see Bull watching the screen. Bull, you got to feed us in on what's happening because
they fouled Toronto, I think.
I mean, they had to. If not, Toronto would have just dribbled the clock out.
But so it's not. It doesn't look like it's a shooting. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe the ball just went out of bounds. It was hard to tell.
Well, they have to foul. I mean, if they did, there's only 16 seconds left. So someone from Toronto at some point, barring a turnover, will go to the free throw line to try and make this a 2-possession game again. I did not see the foul call. It looks like it's out of bounds, but it looks like they're going to throw the
I don't know why I can barely hear you guys.
Jeez, can you hear me? Earl, everyone sounds great to me. Are you sure your volume's down? Well,
yeah, I turned it up. I don't know what's going on.
We'll update the captions. We'll get the ticker going in a sec. I don't want to do that as the game's going on because it's constantly changing. So that is coming, ladies and gentlemen. We see your comments coming in. We appreciate you guys tuning in to the first Cavs post-game show on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show channel. We don't know when we're going to do this throughout the season. Some more key games, some big-time performances. The Cavaliers no longer have any fouls to give. If they foul again, Toronto is headed to the free throw line.
Raptors couldn't inbound in time, and they had to call a timeout.
So that's a 30-second timeout. They have one timeout remaining here, Bull. If I'm a Cav, I'm doing everything in my power to deny Fred VanVleet from getting the rock on this inbounds pass. He was the actual inbounder on that timeout. He was unable to get it in. I bet you Nick Nurse draws up a play to try and get number 20 through the rock. He's by far the Raptors' best free throw shooter.
Well, it was a smart play by JB to have Jared Allen on VanVleet because it's such a size advantage in terms of trying to inbound the ball, and that's why he had a hard time getting it in. So we'll see what they do here.
It was also really good defense on Mobley. He stunted to stop that first guy coming across and then helped back to recover and denied that second pass. We'll talk about all the players once the game ends and break down some more specifics. But I'll tell you, Evan Mobley made a couple of threes today, and he took a ball coast to coast, spin move for a dunk. And that's about as sweet as a play as you'll see from a 19-year-old 7-footer.
What we didn't see is nothing from Isaac Okoro.
MIA.
And MIA, he is not. He just, I thought Karis LeVert looked pretty good in part of the game. I thought he was doing a good job of facilitating. But once again, Karis LeVert is going to be all year. It's going to be a
guys. You want the play-by-play?
What we got?
Inbound, Raptors haven't been fouled yet. I don't know what's taking them so long. So they finally fouled them in midcourt with 7. My eyes are not great. 7.4 seconds.
7.4 left on the clock. I got the game up now.
Okay.
And this is a second-year player. He was in the G League last year, got very sparing time in the NBA last year. We just saw Mitchell knock down his first clutch opportunities in the Cavaliers jersey. We'll see if the backup point guard for the Raptors, Cantulo, I think his name is, can do the same. But that's
missed the first free throw.
I will take that.
The line is 2.5, by the way. Toronto is favored by 2.5. So if you bet on this game, Eddie Betty implications.
Cavs will have a shot at least to tie, even if he makes the second. Isn't it? I think it's Trent. Isn't that Trent shooting?
Is that Trent or 43? I can't tell.
I think it's Trent.
Oh, Gary Trent.
106, 103.
Second free throw is good. So
the Spider got a chance to take us to overtime in his very first official game as a Cleveland Cavalier.
Yes,
the stage is set. Another Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show post-game show with the drama late at the end.
Here we go.
He
got fouled. The Raptors fouled with 4.5 seconds left. Didn't give him a chance to shoot the
smart.
Three.
Yeah, that was very
fouled
smart.
him too.
Teams don't do that enough. It seems like a really smart play.
It's the right play, and it wasn't Mitchell. It was is it LeVert?
It was LeVert.
Yes.
LeVert.
Toronto had a foul. Yeah, they had a foul to give. Or are we in the bonus now?
No, they have no more fouls to give. So he's going to have to make the first, miss the second, and pray for a rebound.
Oh, he's not doing that.
Like, got to. What else can you do?
I mean,
you don't have a choice unless you just want to make 2 free throws and ruin
and
the spread.
Foul again, but then you have so little time. He made the first. Yeah, they're definitely missing the second because they just brought Jared Allen and
well, but you have to intentionally miss the second and then immediately foul if you don't and pray you get a Hail Mary chance with half a second left.
It is one basketball. It is one basketball game, guys.
This has been a great opening game. This was
he made the second free throw. I don't know if he did that on purpose or not, but it's a 1-point game, 4.5 seconds to go. Raptors trying to inbound. Got knocked out of bounds. Might be Cavs ball. No, this ain't a Raptors ball. Darn it.
He was trying. Did you see him run in after the free throw? He absolutely tried to miss that off the back.
Yeah, I think he did. It's hard because you got to hit the rim.
Yeah.
Just 0.7 left in the game. That's a wrap.
3.4. They're inbounding.
The Raptors?
Oh, it was good inbound, and they dunked. So they got it down the court. 0.7 seconds. Cavs will have 0.7 seconds to get off a shot. Down 3. Not likely, obviously. You're going to have to do a half-court pass, Hail Mary. 108, 105.
Is that the final?
I got a final.
That's it.
That is the final.
Yeah, he missed the 3/4 court shot.
Okay.
Well, it was a hell of a first game for the Cavs.
Yeah.
Obviously, not the result you want. It's a loss, not a win. You lose Garland for the entire second half. Bull, we talked about this before you got on, so I want to give you the floor here. But your first initial impression of Donovan Mitchell?
I mean, he's just electric, right? I mean, that one play, I wrote some notes here. Let me bring up my notes. That play where he cut to the basket, there was Mitchell cuts through the paint with 4:30 to go in the first half, right? You guys remember? Like, first of all, the first 14 minutes, they kind of look crappy, right? And then all of a sudden, Cedi comes in and he got them going. I mean, he hit those 2 threes, but then with like 4:30, and they cut the 11-point deficit to nothing in seemed like 90 seconds. But that play where Donovan Mitchell, with about 4.5 minutes to go in the first half, just cut through 3 defenders right through the paint. Like, he is so fast and so electric and has such great body control. I mean, you know, he's a special player. He's fun to watch. I mean, he's their best player, as good as Garland is. I'm not saying it's because of one game, but obviously Mitchell's the best player. I think reacting to one basketball game too much like baseball is silly. This is not the NFL. Like, we're seeing a bunch of messages. Osman should start at the 3. Calm down. In fact, I was a little surprised Osman was in the game with 2-3 minutes to go and not Kevin Love at that point. Whatever. JB Bickerstaff is fine. I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm just saying I was a little surprised that he had him in. But you can't overreact to one basketball game. To me, the biggest takeaway from the game is the Darius Garland injury, and I hope he's okay. Yeah. He got his eye scratched. Hopefully it's not a concussion. It looks like just a scratched eye. It looked like nothing, right? Like when you first saw it,
but
it looked like nothing. But he was wobbly getting off that court. Like, he couldn't stand.
He got anytime you get hit in the eye, you know what I'm saying? It's that second where you just it's debilitating. You just you go right to the ground, you get hit you get poked in the eye, people be losing it. So here's the thing too. I hope it's not a scratch cornea, any of those type things where, obviously he has to be able to see to shoot, obviously. Right. So that's the thing. But when he went out of the game, I said, well, I really can't take nothing away, because that's the main thing I wanted to see. I wanted to see how the offense flowed, the ball movement, all of that good stuff with those 2 guys. And like you said, I think Earl said it earlier, Garland wasn't really on this game. He had 5 turnovers early anyway. Yeah, so it's gonna be a work in progress when it comes to those 2 and handling the ball. But the thing is, you saw exactly how your boy Donovan Mitchell came in, and he looked like he was right at home. Like, all right, Garland gone. Let me go ahead and get this rock. I'll show you what to do with it.
I mean, personally, I think there's a couple of things we can take away from this game. I think Bull talked about those closing 3 minutes of the first half. That's when the Cavs took a 6-point lead off back-to-back 3-point shots. You saw them really clamp down on defense to close out the half with the lead. I look at the fourth quarter, and I know it's one game. We still have a young team, and this is a core that's still learning how to play together. But we have to learn how to close out basketball games, and I would prefer us learn that earlier than later. This just seemed like something that just lingered over from last season to now. And again, you don't want to overreact to one game, but, Toronto is a team that you're going to have to deal with, all season long plus playoffs. And so you want to get used to being able to be in those situations, especially on the road, and be able to close out the game. Like you said, the Garland injury, we didn't really see the, full arsenal of what this thing will look like. But, Garland didn't have his best game. I hope he's okay. And when he get back out there, he'll bounce back from that. I thought Cedi was strong off the bench. We really didn't get anything from Isaac Okoro. And I need Evan Mobley to bang them boards just a little bit tougher than what he's doing out there. So, one game, no overreaction, but there's definitely things you can take away from.
I don't think – I mean, I know they blew some leads last year. I wouldn't read into – I don't think that's a carryover from last year. I think it's a coincidence. It's a new season. It's a new team. I can't read for me, I can't read anything into that. It did seem like Darius Garland was a little unsure of himself because he's playing with Donovan Mitchell and he's not used to it yet. Like, he wasn't sure where to shoot the ball from. And so it seemed like he wasn't confident when shooting. That's just my impression of what happened. I don't know if that was actually the case. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, well, 2 thoughts on that. Yeah. The Raptors are a tough matchup for the Cavs just because from point guard to center, they're all 6'7", 6'8" with long arms.
And they're very physical.
Team.
It's
physical.
It's a wonky matchup physically for the Cavs. And Garland is at best 6'2", 6'3", doesn't have a super long wingspan. He's getting guarded by guys who, wingspan is 6'9", 6'10". And that just makes it tough. As a smaller player myself, if you're going against someone bigger, it's tough. But I agree with you, Earl and Bull and G, that, and I said this last week, it's going to take time for Garland and Mitchell to figure out how to play off each other. You can't just roll out a ball and 2 guys who haven't played with each other They're not going to know their tendencies. They're not going to know that innate ability on where to move. I think back, remember the LeBron alley-oop to Wade, or Wade to LeBron, just threw it over his head? Like, that doesn't happen in 1 day of practice and 2 weeks of practice in a training camp. Like, that kind of innate ability to understand where your best teammate wants the ball and where he's most effective catching the ball and attacking from is something that's developed by game reps and practice, and it was not going to be something we saw today. I wish we saw more of it, but Garland looked a little hesitant. I thought Mitchell looked a little hesitant early, but when we saw Mitchell be the guy in the second half when Garland was out, some of the stuff he does is just special. I mean, he's
really special.
It's absurd.
Yeah, totally expected. And some companies saying don't overreact. Who's overreacting? I'm not taking really anything out of this game besides the Garland injury. It's one freaking basketball game. It's basically meaningless. This game is completely meaningless in the grand scheme of things. You really can't take anything into account. When we get to the playoffs, this game is going to have no meaning whatsoever. And there's people tweeting they don't look special. Shut up. It's one stupid basketball game. Don't be ridiculous. What is wrong with people? It's one game. They lost. They played a good team. It's on. You can't take too much out of it. I don't think you take anything out of it, really.
What happens is there's different. When you talk about basketball, or when you talk about baseball, or you talk about football, it's different when you talk about each of them, right? Like when you playing 80-some odd games, right, and you playing basketball, like it's a different level of, okay, what are you worried about, right? Sometimes you're gonna play basketball and they just won't hit no shots. They got good looks. They just didn't hit nothing. So they lost the game. There's not very many overarching themes that are huge. Like, oh, they didn't play hard, or, oh, the coach is just ridiculous. That doesn't happen, right? And with these sample sizes. So you're looking for different things. Like, okay, today for me, I looked at it. There was times where I was looking at my watch and I'm like, man, Mitchell been out the game for a long time. There was a whole spurt in the first half or first quarter where, they were down, but Donovan Mitchell was just not in the game. And I think they're going to have to find a way. Everybody wants to stagger their starters or stagger the minutes, right? And JB's going to have to learn that he's just learning at what point I could get guys in, get guys touches. And another big thing is, all right, Mobley, where do you get yours amongst the two new guys? Where's your spot to be aggressive? Because Mobley, if you look at his stat line, he still shot 50% from the floor. But where is it that he gets an opportunity and picks his spots to get aggressive when you got two guards that are running pick and roll? So I think that's something to be looking forward to as the season goes on as well.
It's a good problem to have, though. It's definitely a good problem to have. I thought Mobley played great. I would just like to see Mobley, get a couple more rebounds to what he did. I mean, like you said, it's one game. It's not really much you can pick apart. I look at it like this. We was outscored 32-21 in the fourth quarter, and that's just not something that can happen. And I get it. It probably won't have no bearing and no meaning down the line. But if you don't correct those little things early, little things start adding up, and then they become bad habits. And you just don't want to create those bad habits. So I'm pretty sure JB will address that. It's 1 of 82, but in that one, you got to go back. You got to look at the film. You got to look at what you did wrong, what you did right. Try to repeat what you did right and correct what you did wrong. Overall, you can't really get too high, too low, man. It's the first game of the season. It was good to see Donovan Mitchell out there balling, doing his thing. I'll tell you this too, man. The Cavs uniforms look much better, on them when you're watching the game and playing. I already thought they was dope, but they definitely fire. We got some clean swag.
I don't like the logo. I have no taste in clothes, so I probably shouldn't matter. But I don't like their logo. I think the logo is like the big. It's like too big to see. No.
Two things real quick. Shout out to Caleb. He says he's a Guardians fan transitioning to watching the Cavs and our content. Thanks, y'all. Well, we appreciate you, Caleb. You're the real MVP of the night here. But with their uniforms, to me, and G and Earl, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. I think the Celtics jerseys look like this. I kind of think the Cavs new jerseys, they look like practice jerseys to me. I say that practice jerseys, at least when we played in college and high school, it was always plain color and just the logo in the middle. And the new Celtics one, it just says Celtics across the front. That's the only thing. They look like practice. I'm not saying they're ugly, but they look like practice jerseys to me.
I think they look. Go ahead, G.
You know me. I look at it like this. I like a more vibrant jersey. I like a little more pizzazz as I'm sitting here with a grown ass man, 320 some odd pounds wearing lime green in the middle of the night with a pink backdrop. I like color a little bit. So I do like the calves on the hip. I like it, and I like the fact that they got the gold Jordan joint. I like them a lot better than what I see them in the store. Like they look better on than in the store. I don't know about I like the white ones. I like the black ones. I don't know how I feel about the maroon ones. The wine ones, those look like the practice nets Mikey talked about. The ones, them old school, when I played basketball in high school, we used to have to flip them inside and out.
Yep.
And
that's why they only have a logo on the front because
there's
too much printing to get the colors on the sleeves and stuff.
Right. So that always got me thinking about it. But yeah, I like the unis. I like them. I just like them because I think they're gonna be really good when they're wearing the uniforms.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I kind of got a thing for black. You know what I'm saying? But like overall, I like the simple, clean look. I think
says the man wearing all black right now with a black fitted.
I'm with you. I like black too. My only beef with the jersey is that the C is too big.
Wait, hold on. I'm just saying, like the simple, clean look. Less is more, man. Like you know what I'm saying. Like the Cavs game is gonna be loud all season long. You know what I mean? So the uniforms don't got to be just as loud. I think the uniforms is fire.
Look at this big ass panda. It's huge.
Yeah, this is a big ass panda.
It's like big as Bull's face.
By the way, we got people complaining about referees already. Oh God, how tired is that?
I mean, that's what fans gonna do, man.
It is what it is. Like you could argue it's not going to change anything.
I mean, come on. We'll just stop it with the referee. There's two options with the referees. Okay, if you think they're cheating against your team, then don't bother watching the games because they're cheating. So what's the point? And if they're not cheating, then they're trying their best to get it right, and sometimes they're going to get calls wrong. And as a fan, we are biased. So we always think that the close calls go against us, even though it usually doesn't, or it's 50-50, whatever it is. We got another guy, this wheelman guy. He's lost in the soup. He's saying Mobley's slow. He's soft. It's one freaking game. He's still young. First of all, he had a monster dunk when he took one down the lane. I don't know. I agree with. I think it was Earl that said it earlier. I thought Mobley played well. I know that he didn't grab a ton of boards. They could have been better on the glass.
Yeah, it's all good.
But,
he played all preseason. He had an ankle injury.
Yeah, it's one freaking game. Calm down. I don't know. You guys mentioned LeVert before. I thought he played very well. I mean, he had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. He made a real sweet pass to Donovan Mitchell, right? I think it was.
A couple dimes. That was crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess for me, let me ask you all this, man. So you look at that 3, right? You had LeVert playing it. Okoro really did not do much with his time on the court, man.
12 minutes, no points.
Okoro is one of those guys that I looked at like, you got to take that next step this year. You got to be that guy that I feel like this. We try to over-articulate certain points. If Okoro can at least get us 8 to 10 points a game, you're doing enough.
Yeah.
Play some sound defense, get us 8 to 10 points.
I mean, he only played 12 minutes though.
But you only took one shot.
The issue with that, Earl, and I agree with you. We need more from Okoro. These role guys aren't going to get a ton of shots. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. And listen, Okoro's got to find a way to crash the glass, get out in transition, shoot 4 or 5 times a game. But his main goal on offense is going to be stand in the corner and pray that Donovan Mitchell kicks him out or Darius Garland kicks it out to him because he's not creating anything himself.
Maybe so, but if you can get to the basket and draw some fouls, you get to the free throw line 2 or 3 times. I mean, that's 6 points right there.
Well, let me ask you,
all I'm saying is just do the little things.
Do you have any confidence in Isaac Okoro to dribble a basketball with an NBA defender on him and get to the lane?
I mean, I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it in spurts of his career. I've seen him do it a couple times last season. He has the ability to do it, and I think that's what I'm saying. That all you got to do is be able to attack the basket. We know Isaac Okoro is not a great offensive player, but you should be able to do enough to at least get yourself to the free throw line to at least get 6 points up on the board. Shooting the ball one time, I just don't think that's acceptable.
He should dedicate himself. I'm gonna be honest with you. He should dedicate himself to becoming the best defender he can. There's some people in the league that ain't gonna be no scorers. And he can find a niche. He can find somewhere he can bounce around if he says, I'm a so-and-so stopper. Now they tried to market to him as that. I just don't think his defensive skill set is like elite where he could switch on people and give people problems because of his length. I think he's a decent, good athlete, but I think he needs to be known as a defender and a guy that is a really good glue guy. And like you said, get to the rack a couple times, maybe get out in transition, get a layup or two. But I don't think he's the answer at 3. Because
I don't think so either. But I don't think 6 to 8 points is a lot to ask for. That's just me personally. I just don't think.
Is he a starter? I mean, do y'all see him as a starter or a bench guy?
No.
I see him as a bench
guy.
That's a
guy that's coming off the bench.
Yeah,
I think he's a guy that's coming off the bench.
Although it might be better off on this team. Maybe he would be better a starter because they don't need him to score with that group.
Yeah, I think
he could play defense.
Better. And then LeVert could go on the second team and be more of that facilitator creator because he's best with the ball in his hands anyway, and he's just not going to have that many opportunities alongside Garland and Mitchell.
But if Garland is healthy, assuming when Garland's healthy, Garland, at least one of Garland Mitchell, JB's already said it, is going to be on the floor at all times. So he's going to have to play with one. I mean, he's going to have to play with one of them at all times. I don't know. I mean, listen, again, it's one game. It's almost no sample size. You can't just say, well, this is how it's going to be based on this one game. And I thought there were times in this game where they looked fantastic. Right, the last 6 minutes and the first 14 minutes, they looked terrible. The rest of the game, they looked great. They lost. Who cares? I'm more concerned about Darius Garland. That's my biggest concern.
I'll take my takeaway. The only thing I'm concerned about in this game is finding the different slots for different people. The quicker they find their role, the quicker people can get into that role, get comfortable, and keep going.
Right.
For me, I would only have one problem with Isaac Okoro in the starting lineup because if he's there, I don't have to guard him. I could always help off as a floating defender. I can help out on Donovan Mitchell. I can help out on Darius Garland. Mm-hmm. Like I could help out. And and Allen is a guy who's a I won't say garbage guy, but he's just a hustle guy. He's just gonna get all the rebounds, scrap.
He's a limited offensive player, right?
Limited offensive guy. So I don't know if I can have two limited guys.
It's a good point.
I mean, for me, my biggest takeaway is pretty much just figuring out the rotation, but closing out games. You got to close out games. And again, one game, but you keep doing this over and over again. Now it becomes a consistent bad habit. So, just close out the games. And, and these things right here is learning lessons. I'm glad it happened in game one, if it's got to happen. So.
And it also, Toronto is a tough place to play to begin with. Their fan base is as electric and as into it for 41 regular season games as any team in the NBA. It's not a long road trip from Cleveland, but you do have to cross the border. There's extra travel precautions. That's not an excuse for anything tonight, but it's a hell of a learning experience for a new team. And I wish we got to see Garland on this team kind of go through this experience with Mitchell, with Mobley, and grow together, but he wasn't there. But, I'm just watching the comments in the chat. Anyone who's overreacting to this
it's embarrassing. It's flat out embarrassing.
They played well. I think at the end of the day, the Cavaliers played pretty well tonight, and they lost to a team that's also a very legitimate playoff contender. That's a bad physical matchup for Cleveland in Toronto. And you could nitpick some certain things. Like, maybe Mobley could have had 8-9 rebounds instead of 6. Maybe Okoro could have had an extra point or two if he drove and got fouled. Maybe LeVert makes one of his threes. But
first game.
You also got 18 points or 15 points from Cedi Osman. You're not going to get 15, 16 points from Cedi Osman every game. Like, they got some contributions off the bench that you can't expect on a daily basis.
Dean Wade played well.
Yeah, so you got some things that you didn't expect. You didn't get things you did expect. It evens out. And two good basketball teams played tonight, and the Raptors at home just came out on top by 3 points. Like, it was a good basketball game.
On an unrelated note, guys, did you see have you seen the Astros-Yankees score?
No, I'm watching hoops today.
What's it now?
It's 4-1 Houston in the top of the 8th. They've got 3 home runs, the Astros, in this game. But you know how the Yankees scored their only run?
Harrison Bader, baby.
Harrison Bader.
Don't
say Harrison Bader, baby, like you're excited.
I'm just saying that man can't get out right now.
Because you spoke on it, though, man. Like, that team is long, man. They had all 5 of their starters 15-plus points. That's a
Toronto
group. Yeah, that's a cohesive
good.
group.
Toronto's really good.
That's a good team. That's a really, really good team. And it's a bad matchup for us, but you know what? We're gonna see them a couple more times. So you're gonna have to figure it out. It's a chess match. You're gonna have to figure that out.
You know what? I tell you, I don't mind the matchup so much. And the reason
I like it. It's a challenge.
I don't mind the matchup because if you look at it, you got VanVleet, right? And he, he's a guy, like, I like his game. but he's a smaller guard. I think our guards can give him that work. The guy who you can't let get buckets like that is Gary Trent Jr. Like, if Siakam's going to hit me, cool. All right, I give VanVleet, Barnes. And Barnes is, I like what Barnes is kind of rolled into. Like, I didn't like his game, really. Like, I didn't know whether he's going to be a small four, power four. I didn't know what he was going to be. But he does a little bit of everything pretty good. If you look at him, he's a +20 in the plus minus. But I like our matchup better because I think Mobley's length will give him trouble. I think Jared Allen can switch off on a lot of people. And frankly, I think when we get it rolling, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell will be too much in the fourth quarter. I think trying to keep both of those dudes off it's going to be tough.
And keep in mind, guys, that like as the season goes along, and certainly if they played Toronto in the playoffs, they mentioned on the broadcast that Toronto had like the worst bench in the league last year. And, they were, off the bench, they were playing, the rookie? I can't even think of his name.
Koloko.
Yeah.
A guy from the G League last year. I mean,
they have a good starting lineup, but on opening day, it's not going to be a big deal that you're not deep. But as the season goes along, and certainly in a playoff series, when their starters are racking up minutes and the Cavs are able to sit guys, I mean, they lost the game on the road by 3 on the opening night when their 1B player missed the entire second half. Who cares? They're going to win plenty of games.
Let me start, Earl. I'll start with you here. Are you leaving tonight with extra optimism, a negative outlook, or is this absolutely status quo from what you expected entering this game at 7:30 tonight?
I mean, it's just status quo. It's game one. You can't really overreact. And it's really hard to assess them, honestly, until you see them play a couple more times. Like, I know they got a back-to-back coming up within the first week. So let them get 10, 12 games in, for me to really, like, kind of give a strong opinion on what I think this team will look like. The only thing I can say, and this is just going out on a limb, whoever's going to play that small forward position, I don't think he's currently on the roster. I don't know if anybody else agree with that or not, but I think that it'll play itself out, very early on, and I think Kobe will make a move if necessary to try to get that situation taken care of. And that's if he can make a move. But yeah, I mean, we lost the first game. I know Bull says nobody care, man. I hate losing, period. And plus, it's been a lot of losing the last like 3 or 4 days. I'm just tired of it. Like, I'm over it.
L's anthem, baby.
Man, listen,
of course, no, I get what he's saying. It's
like
not that I didn't want him to win
all weekend.
I hear you.
It
has been ever since the Guardians walk off on Saturday.
The highest of highs, we have hit the lowest of lows.
Right? The Browns lost, and the Guardians lost, and the Guardians lost, and the Cavs lost. So, yeah, I get it. I wanted them to win, too. But all I'm saying is in the grand scheme of things, this game is completely meaningless. Yeah. In the grand scheme of the season, the only thing that mattered from this game was, is Darius Garland okay? And is that going to affect him? Like, is he going to have to wear a mask? Is he in any of that stuff? Like, that to me is the only thing that matters. Of course you want to win. Every game they play, we want to see them win. But the only thing that really matters is the beginning of developing that on-court chemistry, the beginning of developing, as G said, roles with the team, and most importantly, is Darius Garland okay? Because, like, he was down, and I'm sure we were all like, SH, what's going on? Texting Chris Fedor, like, what's going on? Is he okay? What the hell's happening?
It didn't look that, like, in the moment.
It looked like nothing.
And we'll find out some more information later. I'm sure he'll fly back, get a retina scan or whatever they do to check your eye. It didn't look like much in the moment, but when you get hit in the eye, and G. Bush, Earl, Bull, I'm sure you guys have all been hit in the eye at some sport of your athletic careers, like, it's impossible to predict how your body's going to react. I remember when I got contacts for the first time, I passed out in the doctor's chair. Like, the first time I put a contact in, I just passed out straight up. And now I wear contacts every day. So, like, I'm serious.
Was that anxiety or was it the contacts?
God, that's funny.
That had to be anxiety, man.
No, the doctor said it happens all the time. People, it's their body's reaction to not like the
he lied to you.
Down. So when you get poked in the eye, like, sometimes your body reacts different. So it may not be. He might be completely fine tomorrow, but you just don't know how your body's going to react to getting poked in the eye or having an object. It's just impossible not to react. So hopefully he's fine right now. He just needed a break.
I think he'd be all right.
Hey, McNuggets, if I see you
I passed out twice in my life, G.
I see you put these contacts in and you lay it out. I'm gonna go crazy.
Hey, look, listen, I can do it without looking now. I got my new glasses. I look smart for y'all for a second. Maybe I'll rock these on the show tomorrow. But I put my G Bush. But yeah, first time I got contacts in 8th grade, they put them in. I immediately passed out.
Guys, did you guys mention the JB's comment after the game about Garland? Did you guys see this?
No, I did not. What did he say?
Cameron Justice just tweeted it. Said Garland has, quote, a laceration on the inside of his eyelid. I guess that's, I mean, I don't know. I'm certainly not a doctor. I'm certainly not going to pretend to be one. But it sounds like that's better than the eye.
Yeah, man.
How do you get scratched on the inside of your eyelid? How's that even possible?
I mean, your eye is movable, boo. If somebody scrapes you with a fingernail and they poke you.
Yeah, but your eye, the inside of your eyelid is not like, you know what I'm saying? Like you'd have to.
You can go up
be a
in
freak
there.
accident. It could be a
freak, that's weird.
Freak situations. Man.
Yeah, that's really strange.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
It's better than at least it's a flesh wound and not an eye,
right?
An actual eye cut. So
exactly.
That should be a pretty.
He's probably going to be all right, I would think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm encouraged, McNuggets. You know why? Because I'll be looking at teams. See, I'll be watching. I don't look at you what you are now. I just look at you on potential, what you could be, and see the little mixes. So I look at the Raptors, and I'm like, oh, y'all a nice team. But for the Raptors to win a championship, they would have to play perfectly. And they would have to have 2 or 3 guys every single night, which they didn't understand where they was getting it from. Like, that's cool you did that at home. So you could get Siakam, Siakam can get his on the road. VanVleet can get his on the road. I don't know if anybody else in a tough series can get theirs on the road like the way you need to get it in the playoff series. Like he would probably have to get you, if he hit you for 19 or 20, you'd be like, oh, Barnes was balling. I don't think he's ready for that 30 life. So I look at them and say, yeah, I like the way they play. I like that. But I don't know if that translates to big time winning. So when you play in the Brooklyn Nets, they got 2 dudes that can go get 50. When you play the Celtics, they got 2 dudes that can get you 50. Like, you know what I'm saying? You need them cats to be in the mix. Trae Young, them, they got a dude, they can get, it might not be 50 with DeJounte Murray, but he can get you 30. You know what I'm saying? So you need them type of dudes. And I'm looking at the Cavs, and I think they got them. They got 2 dudes that can put that amount of points up on the board and still have some other things. So I like what I see so far.
And they might have 3 if Mobley continues to develop. I mean, he showed the outside touch today. He made 2 threes. And correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't watch a ton of Cavs last year. He didn't shoot many threes last year, did he?
No, but you know what, though? Brad Daugherty said it last year that he felt like we haven't even seen the peak of his offensive game.
Not even close.
He said, man, this dude has a soft touch. He can shoot from anywhere on the court. And once he actually, gained his confidence in being able to shoot that shot consistently, we're going to see him evolve into something else. They say that offensively, he's more of a Kevin Durant than he is a Giannis, that he can actually score from anywhere on the court. You just worry about him on the defensive side of it, trying to step out there in the perimeter and consistently guard somebody that's a 3.
Funny you said that. They was in the summer league. In the summer, I'll be watching all kind of dudes. Like I watch him play games out in UCLA. Watch him play games, pickup games. He was playing a pickup game. It was him and his brother, and they was going against Kevin Durant, and he was guarding Kevin Durant. And I was just like, this is ridiculous because Durant wasn't missing it. And Mobley had the shot hand all in his face. Nothing but the bottom of the net. But what I was surprised about was that Mobley was bringing the ball up court, and he was not hesitating when it came to shooting the ball from 3. And I'm glad that translated to today, because a lot of stuff you work on in the offseason, people be hesitant and implementing that early on. You know how it is, McNuggets. You be working with your close coach. You be working, maybe on a step back or something. Then all of a sudden, come to the game, you ain't got confidence in him. I like how he pulled up with confidence, like, oh, I got this part. It's part of my game now, and I like it.
We used to have workouts in college where we would do all these fancy dribble moves into pull-up jump shots, and I'd make 70% in practice. I'd be so terrified to pull it out in a game because when there's an actual defender on you who can play, like Mobley in pickup could be able to do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter who's playing. Like, he's going to do whatever he wants. The one thing with Mobley I wanted to point out today, though, and I'm really curious to see, Bo, I want your opinion on this. We'll go around. I'm really curious to see how Bickerstaff incorporates him into the offense, because last year one of the things I loved about Mobley was they would give him the ball at the high post and let him be the focal point of this offense, not necessarily as just a scorer, but as a creator. He's a really good passer and a really intelligent basketball player from the high post, and you could run offense around him off that. But now that they have a second primary ball handler and scorer with Mitchell in the equation, I'm not sure how many opportunities he's going to get the ball and start the offense and initiate a set from the high post. So I didn't see much of it tonight at all. Ball, I'll start with you, but as we see Mobley develop, because I think we all agree he has this MVP potential. How do you think Bickerstaff is going to continue to develop his game in all facets, especially as maybe an offensive facilitator, while still doing what's best for this team, which is get the ball to Mitchell and Garland? Right.
You got to find that balance of bringing along the young player and doing what's best for the team, because it's important to develop. If the Cavs are going to get to the heights they want to get to, it's important that they develop his offensive game, even at the expense of some losses, if that's what it means early in the season, because the regular season is just preparing you for the playoffs. I mean, the NBA regular season, more than any other sport, really doesn't have a ton of value because so many teams make the playoffs. It's
more than half the league makes the playoffs. It's the only sport that more than half the league makes the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, if you include the play-in round, it's 20 of 30 teams?
30. 20,
I mean, that's crazy. That's 2/3 of the teams that make the playoffs. You don't have to, I mean, even in the East, which is really good, the 9th and 10th team going to be any good? Certainly the bottom of the West is not going to be good. So the most important thing is keeping guys healthy and developing the young players, especially Mobley, to improve their game. But I would assume as the season goes along, he'll try a bunch of different things. Just like G talked about, guys got to find their roles. And already in the first game, right, you played probably Cedi a lot more than you would have because A, he was playing well, but B, with Garland getting hurt, it changes the game plan right off the bat. So I think we'll see him do a bunch of different things as the season goes along, and then eventually they'll get to a point where, okay, the team was at best and he was at his best when we did this, and this, but not this, and this. So we'll now focus on these things more, in the second half and going into the playoffs. That's what I would assume would happen. What do you guys think?
Earl? I think I look at it is he can still get himself involved offensively. All you got to do is just run a lot of high pick and roll. As far as him being a great ball handler or developing those ball handling abilities, I think that's cool that he got that in his repertoire. But I don't think that's something that we're going to need. I think when you have Spider and when you have Darius Garland, and then you're going to get Ricky Rubio back eventually, I think you got another guys that can handle the ball and facilitate the offense to where you can probably utilize other components of his game a little bit more, especially as he's developed. If you got those guys out there facilitating and he's becoming more confident and comfortable in shooting that outside shot, then that's putting him in a situation to where now he is becoming a more part of the offense because he's growing his game in other areas. And then, like I said, he's a big. So, you got those guards, you can do some pick and roll with him. There's a lot of different things that you can do with Evan Mobley outside of just him, being this guy that can bring up the rock and facilitate the offense. I think that is great that he can do that. And that's something that I'm pretty sure Bickerstaff will have in the back of his mind in case we was ever in those situations where we needed him to do that.
McNuggets, for me, I like to see when you could really open the offense up is when you can now run the high-low game. So if you got him at the elbow or the nail, you can get that. Now you can work with him and Jared Allen because Jared Allen is a good finisher. Now you can work that, you can lob the ball over. They can play high-low with the two bigs down there. And that's devastating because not very many people have two big guys. So now I'm looking at Jared Allen. He's a really good adept finisher, especially when you talk about lobbing and dunks. They do a good job. He does a good job of not bringing the ball down. He keeps it high, and he finishes really quickly. So that's something I like to see from Mobley because at the high elbow, that's a problem. He could get 1-2 dribbles either to the left, 1-2 dribbles to the right. He got the pull-up game, or you can flash up in the middle of the key. Allen can, and he could go ahead, especially if they switching off on certain things. So he got a lot of different stuff that he'll be able to do. Not so much that you're going to be running some different plays for him, but just the fact that when he gets the ball, he got a triple threat. I could shoot pass or I could score, and that's always something that puts pressure on the defense.
Yeah,
hey, guys, go ahead. Go ahead, Mikey.
I think for the Cavs to reach the ultimate potential of this team, which we all agree, look at the talent, could be an NBA championship caliber roster. Mobley has to take that next step.
No
as
doubt.
good as Mitchell and Garland are, Mobley's the key to unlocking this team, to getting into that top 1-2 echelon with the Warriors, with the Bucks, with the Celtics. And I agree with both. You may have to sacrifice a couple losses in the regular season to let Mobley be that option A in certain games. And who cares if you lose a game on a random Tuesday night?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But Mobley needs some of those reps to be the focal point of an offense, not dribbling the ball up the court and going one-on-one, but catching in the high post, utilizing those high lows. I would love to see. I'll do a little Coach Tyvus, do a little Coach Luke tomorrow. Throw the ball to him on the high post, have Garland and Mitchell come off a cross, have Garland go off a double screen on the backside, then have Mitchell come back, a little dribble handoff. You got a high-low pick and roll with an alley-oop or a backside double screen. Put the defense in two sides. You got to pick your poison there. Stuff like that, and let him make some decisions. But the Cavs, if they're going to win a championship in the next few years with this core, it's because Mobley takes that next step from being a really good young player to an elite player in the NBA, not because Mitchell and Garland carry the team to it.
I got another one for you, though, McNuggets. Though, real quick, boy.
Yeah,
I can see this thing 3-4 years from now, and this is with Spider still on his team, to where if he continues to develop like we all think he will, Evan Mobley will hands down be the best player on his team.
Mm-hmm. He needs to be, right? Because outside of Steph Curry, who wins with a small guard being their best player?
We looked it up. The last real one to do it was Chauncey Billups, if you want to consider Chauncey Billups.
That one team.
6'5".
That team was a total anomaly. They didn't have any superstars.
Exactly.
It was such a weird team.
Further, it was Isaiah Thomas on the Pistons.
Right.
The bad
and that's a long
It
time
doesn't
ago
happen.
at this point.
It just really
Exactly.
it's one of those things that just don't happen. So,
doesn't mean it can't, but it just hasn't. By the way, guys, real rapid fire, all right? I'm going to just because I don't know, maybe nobody is interested, but I am. If you guys are not interested, I'll move on quickly. But I was just looking at some of the box scores of some of the other teams we think are going to be contenders. And so I'll just do rapid fire if you want to share a thought. I don't know. If you don't want me to shut the hell up, I'll do it. So the Pelicans beat the Nets 130-108, and Kyrie in their first game was 6 of 19 from the field.
First game of the season. Don't care.
Don't care.
Not that I don't care, but doesn't matter. Sorry, doesn't matter is the right way to put it. Don't overreact to any first game.
No, I'm just saying. Atlanta beat Houston 117-107. DeJounte Murray at 20 points, 5 rebounds, 11 assists, and 5 steals in his first game as a Hawk.
He's good.
What Collins do? That's the key to their squad.
Collins, he was 24 and 8 on 9 of 12 shooting.
Cannot play a better game than that for John Collins.
No.
He's the key to what they do. They got 2 great guards, and they can lead you. But playoff time, we trapping all the small guards. We blitzing all the guards up top. We'll off the pick and roll. So Collins is the answer to them.
And Bulls beat the Heat 116-108. The high scorer in the NBA tonight, DeMar DeRozan with 37. He was 14 of 22 from the field, and he only took three threes and scored 37 points.
Mid-range god.
Yeah,
he's a mid-range guy. Like if you play continuous one-on-one 3 dribbles, he's elite. Like he get to his spots. Jimmy Butler's pretty good at that. Durant is but Kyrie is really good at 3 dribble. King of them out. He's pretty good at that too.
All right, we've been going on for 50 minutes here.
Go.
Everyone, let's get their last thoughts in. We're gonna talk some more Cavs on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification, ring the bell. We don't know when our next post-game Cavs show will be. We're going to hop in periodically from here and there, talk about big games, big performances. And we'll be back for the Browns post-game on Sunday. And we're live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at a minimum. We got some extra content coming. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, support the channel. We appreciate y'all more than you know. Earl, final thought. You're up first.
Game 1, we didn't win it. I'm excited to see I can see, what Kobe Altman saw in his vision of putting this together. I think that is going to be fun to watch. I think this team is going to give us a show all season long. On to the next one. Who we play next? The Bulls?
The Bulls,
Let's go.
correct.
Let's go get it.
G. Bush.
Hey, listen, it was a good game. I thought it was really intense in there. This is a game they lost, but like we said, I thought it's yet to be seen what this team is going to be. There's many more growth spurts for this team to come. But I was encouraged by the fact that even when Darius Garland goes down, you can see last year Darius Garland went down. This team had no chance of winning. Now you still got another guy in Donovan Mitchell who is an electric guy with the ball in his hand. So the Cavs will be good. I'm waiting to see how they'll kind of come into the swing of things. But it's going to be a fun season.
Bull.
If you really want some good analysis on the Cavs, looking into the season and their first game and everything, check out my podcast tomorrow morning. I'll be interviewing Joe Varden of The Athletic, and I'll put the podcast out probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning because I'm interviewing him at 8:30. And Joe knows the NBA as well as anybody in Cleveland. He and Jason and Chris probably know it the best. And so Joe will be on the podcast tomorrow. It's fun, as always, being with you guys again. We spent it, especially Earl and G. The three of us have spent a lot of time together. I think I've talked to you guys more than my family over the past 4 or 5 days.
I got my final take here too. Don't cut me short. But this may piss some people off, but it has to be said. When they traded Baker Mayfield, a lot of Cleveland fans, there was the Baker Bros, there was the Sexton, whatever you want. Sexton had a lot
Sexton
of
studs.
The Sexton studs
Or the Sexton Simps.
Donovan Mitchell is infinitesimally, I just made up that word.
Yeah,
better
rough.
than Colin Sexton. And what you see the upgrade in that position is what we're hoping Deshaun Watson is to Baker Mayfield when he finally hits the field. That is why you go out and get players like that, because he almost single-handedly can keep you in a game when your second best player goes out. Yes, Sexton was a great Cav for his couple of years here. Yes, he was a fun player. The reality is Donovan Mitchell is 10 times better a player than Colin Sexton, and there's no debate.
Was anybody complaining? Were people complaining about the trade?
Oh, yeah.
I just remember anytime Brad would say we should trade Sexton, our Twitter mentions would blow up and be like, "How could you say trade Sexton? He's a Cav legend." Listen, you got Donovan Mitchell.
Legend.
Trust me, you're in a better place.
Cavs legend.
Cavs
legend.
Man.
Listen, ask Brad when you see Brad on Friday, Bull. Ask him about his mentions.
Anytime
we posted a
Iman Shumpert is more of a Cavs legend than Colin Sexton is.
Listen, I'm new here. I'm just a D3 basketball wash-up. I'm just telling you what I see in the Twitter mentions. That is it, though, for our first Cavs post-game show. Adam the Bull, G. Bush, Earl the Pearl, McNuggets. We will see you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m., and the bullpen comes out about 9:30 with Chris Fedor. Thanks for watching.
No, Joe Varden. Joe Varden tomorrow.
Excuse me. I combined the two Cavs guys.
Yeah.
See you guys tomorrow.
Peace.
Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all.